Are we rolling?
Yeah, we're rolling.
So I want to talk to you about Jinxed 2. Instead of dropping a fancy trailer, hyping this up, posting it all over the board, sending out review copies, I thought I want to try something that I've never tried before, and that's give you an in-depth insight into what's going to be on this project, tell you what it is, talk to you about what it's not, and then share with you the differences between Jinxed and this. So first, let me start by saying that most of you will know that I'm one of Animan's biggest fans. I've literally got Animan tattooed on my hand, so if that's not a commitment to a cause, I don't know what is. So Jinxed came out probably about half a decade ago, which is quite a long time, because you know we see new faces come and go all the time. But back then I had so much to say, such little time to say it, and I really didn't know how to express myself the way that I do now. So welcome to my home in West Yorkshire. I'm going to try to keep this video to about 10 minutes. And I'm going to explain how you can get this at the end, but before I do, let me talk to you about what my philosophy was with this project. The whole idea behind this project was to reinvent the wheel. So I'm not claiming that this is some propolis project where people have to jump through hoops and do mental acrobatics, or you have to learn lines and lines of scripts to end somewhere that might ultimately fail. This, I feel, is the perfect blend between mechanical material and psychological material, and for that reason I'm calling this psycho-mechanical. There's a nice mixture of that stuff, but all of it is 100% workable. It 100% works. You're not having to create silly outs, or you're not having to have silly justifications, and the performances are not that elongated. They're just quick, easy to do ideas where I've re-looked at things from the past, looked at things in Life and Times of a Legend, things that Animan created and that have inspired me, and I've changed them. Much like escalators, but I'd say that this is escalators on steroids when thinking about Animan's material as opposed to Corinda's. So I want to, like I said, keep this fairly brief, and I could go on for hours and hours and hours. So I'm just going to give you a brief outline of some of the things that are on this project, and then the rest you could find out for yourself. But if you loved escalators, if you loved Devil in Disguise 2, if you loved the Bigger Fish files, or even if you love Jinxed, I know without you even having to sit through this video that you're going to love this, because it takes all the core philosophies and principles and things that I've shared in the past, it heightens them. I add loads of brand new routines and effects in this project, and it retains that same high quality of video that we've put out on previous projects, with the same sort of stringent security measures that are put in place by our tech guy, and we've made this almost a physical download, which sounds weird, but let me explain that at the back end. So let me talk to you about some of the things that are on this project. I did say this is about reinventing the wheel. What do I mean by that? Well, in mentalism, what we tend to do is we tend to have the philosophy that if something's not broken, don't fix it. And I think that sometimes that can be the wrong attitude to have, because by changing the smallest cogs in the machine, it can overall affect the bigger performance of the machine. And one such area that I tend to find is overlooked is equivoque. Now, I've not shared my touches or my subtleties when it comes to equivocal choreography, and I thought this would be the perfect time to do it. I call my effect pre-equivoque, and that's not because it involves any funny pre-show work. I just call it pre-equivoque because of the special way that I apply equivoque. So think about everything that you know about equivoque and then throw it out the window, because it's not that. It still utilizes a similar philosophy and series of ideas, but it's completely different. In my version, the participant can choose the perspective that this is going to work from. So let's say that it is finding a playing card in a deck of cards. They decide which perspective this is going to work from, theirs or mine. They then decide which pile they want to use. There's no lose or use or throwing cards up and some landing like this, some landing like that. They literally say, I want this pile, I want that pile. In the middle of an equivoque performance, if somebody says, I want to use black cards instead of red ones, it falls flat. In this version, you can literally have your participant say, I want to keep the pile on my left, I want to keep the pile on my right, and then you lay the cards out, I want the second card, and you're not miscounting from either end. Literally what they pick is what they get, and you're 100% right every single time. I also then talk about an updated patio force variant that I've created, because I don't like the ending of the patio force, so I discuss a few different techniques there. I also talk about how you can essentially take old formulas that people have dismissed as non-practical. One good example is the grey elephants in Denmark, and you can fool people that know the grey elephants in Denmark principle with this principle, because this new principle enables you to take all those old mathematical formulas that you've dismissed and gone, I don't want to use this, and you've sort of settled for Cypher, the calculator app, or the toxic force, and now you don't need to. These things are literally at your disposal, and somebody could do this in their head if they wanted to. So it enables you to take all of this old material you've dismissed as impractical. It literally seems more impossible, and yet you'll have the desired outcome you want every single time. So if you want to fool people in the know about such things like grey elephants in Denmark, I know you're going to love one of the principles shared on this set. Another thing is a thing called SOS, which is Sudoku on steroids. Now, it has no relation to Sudoku, it just reminded me of that, and that's why I called it. But what this is there's like a grid, and it's an empty grid, and people fill it out with random numbers. Now, this can be done with 2 people minimum, but basically this is filled out with random numbers, and then somebody chooses 4 of those numbers, they get added up, and you're forcing the total every single time. If you've never performed a mentalism effect before, you'll easily be able to do this. If you've only done magic before, you'll easily be able to do this. If you've never even looked at mentalism before, you'll be able to do this. It's that simple. And that's what's so elegant about it, but essentially you're forcing the total every single time. And guess what? It's whatever number you want. It doesn't just have to be the same total every time. You could perform this 4 times in a row and the total will be different every single time that you perform this. But what does it make it great for? Why is it important to be able to force a number? Well, guess what? If you wanted to do a phone book test where somebody opens a phone book and literally goes down to that entry in a phone book, you could predict in advance the contact at that point. You could ask someone to open the top 50 films on Netflix, and without an app or anything like that, without using any of the apps that are out there right now, like the digital force bag, you'd be able to know exactly what film your participant's going to be thinking of at any given time. It enables you to do a dictionary test, a book test, any card at any number. It literally enables you to be able to force whatever total you want, whenever you want, with so much ease, it's ridiculous. And there's no apps or electronics involved. There's another thing that I want to talk about very briefly. It's a thing that I originally called 2 become 1, but I changed that because I called it something else in the explanation section when I filmed this. I called it think of 2 and I'll guess 1. And this is again another old principle I've taken and updated, one that I guarantee that you know, but even though you know the principle, I'll guarantee the performance fools you. Why will it fool you? Because it's so hands-off. This is what it looks like. Somebody takes a borrowed deck of cards. Now, nobody carries cards anymore, but that's one of the stipulations that if you so wish to abide by, could be abided by. And you ask them to shuffle a deck of cards. The cards are then spread on the table. You look away, you're not looking where they glance, and they think of 2 cards. The cards are squared up. They verify they could have thought of cards from anywhere inside there. The start, the middle, 2 in the middle, either end of the deck. It really doesn't make a difference. They then shuffle the deck. So think about this. They've shuffled, spread, looked, and reshuffled. And at that point, that's when you get given the deck. They get asked to think of the easier of the 2 cards to guess, and you get somebody next to you or in the audience to try to guess the card, and guess what? They're wrong, no surprise. But it's giving your participant time to train themselves to keep a poker face. And guess what? You nail the card. You nail the second card that's inside the head with ease, and you're 100% right every single time. Whilst we're talking about psychomechanical material, I talked to you about taking things that are mechanical and adding that flair of a psychological edge to them to make them almost maverick in appearance, and this is no different. You can ask somebody to imagine picking a card out of a deck of cards. Now think about this. Usually you'd spread the deck, have them pick one out, you'd have to use some control to get it to the top or whatever. In this version, you literally spread the cards face up, just ask them to, in their head, envision reaching down, pulling one out, and then imagine putting it back in. Again, this is almost like an invisible deck type routine without gimmicks, and then you instantly tell them, boom, what card it is they envision picking out of the deck. It's quick, slick, and faster than having someone actually pick a card, return it, and having to false shuffle and control it, enabling you to on the fly do a quick, elegant piece of mentalism. One last thing that I want to talk to you about, and there is much more than this and many more routines, is a thing that I call any picture at any number. Any picture at any number is exactly what it sounds like, but with a twist. Instead of doing any card at any number where someone names a playing card and then names a number and that card happens to be at that number, this is more interesting, and I feel it makes the any card at any number plot more interesting to the audience. So think the Burglass effect on steroids. And again, I know I've said that a few times on this, but I really am that proud and confident in this material that, you know, to make a few outlandish claims is not going to be a problem for me, because I guarantee the material backs it up. Back in the 70s and 80s, they literally trained psychic spies to astral project their own minds into random boxes and lockers and buildings to see what were going on in those buildings. And not much came of the experiments, but what you have your participant do is you explain that obviously you're not going to carry a series of boxes around, so you've replicated that by bringing a stack of drawings. Now people can add to this stack of drawings if they so wish. You ask your participant to think of a drawing. They then hover their hands over the top of this stack of drawings and you say, do you feel the drawings in there or not? They say yes or no. If they feel it's inside there, they then tell you a number. That number gets dealt to and boom, that drawing is at that exact number. Not only have they thought of a drawing, but they've located the exact position inside that stack of drawings with ease. And again, like I say, you don't need to be specially skilled or gifted to be able to do this, but it looks incredible. Not only that, I share a series of systems to be able to replicate the outcome in a manner of different ways. There's a lot of other effects on this project, but they're the ones I just wanted to share. The other ones, as with the bigger fish files, as with Devil in Disguise 2, as with Escalators, I'm not going to say anything about because I can't wait for you to see them. With those, you sort of got them blindly, and the amount of people, just go on the Magic Cafe and have a look at the amount of people who are raving about the quality of the content. And like I said, we've kept the video quality, we've added the knowledge. So how do you get this? Well, I reckon this is going to be ready in about a month or so's time, and that's not because there's much more to do in terms of filming. There's not. All the filming's been finished. There's only 1 or 2 pieces that I want to add just as bonus stuff that's going to be happening at the Minds convention, which is going to be taking place this coming weekend, where I'll be lecturing. So if you're going to Minds, I hope to see some of you there. You can get this by just looking below this video. That's if you're on the website. Looking below this video and there'll be a link that says click to order. Now, like I said earlier, we've tried to make this a physical download. So what does that mean? Well, essentially, people are complaining that they want downloads and other people are complaining and saying they want a physical product. We've had nothing but problem with USB sticks. We're not going to lie about that. And we thought about doing this on a USB stick, but by the time some of them have corrupted themselves, or by the time some of the passwords are incorrect, it all becomes this mess. So the way that we've decided to do this is we'll send you a physical golden ticket, an invitation to the material. Once you make your purchase, it'll come out as a physical product on the site. We'll send you in the post in a black envelope that's gold lined, a golden ticket where you can access the material on your phone or on your laptop or computer simply by following the QRC code or the link that's on there, the shortened link that's on there, and it'll give you access to your own personal folder. And then you can download the content onto your computer from that folder. We've got stringent security measures that are in place by our tech guy that stop this from being shared, and if someone does share it, we know exactly what it is. We're not going to say what those methods are, but as you guys know with the bigger fish files, we've worked so hard to protect the material that we really want to protect your investment. Anyway, I'm digressing. This is the pre-order officially open for this project. There'll be a date in which the project will be completed by in the ad copy below this. If you want to get it, I'd say jump on it fast because there's only 200. We've opened pre-order now, so everybody gets a chance at being able to get one of these, because I've had constant complaints with the last 3 projects that people didn't have the time to get them. You've got a month. So grab it now, we'll get them in the post to you. Some of you might receive these invitations early, but as soon as it's finished, you'll be able to access the content. So it means that we can literally send out the envelopes now, but the content won't be added to that specific folder until the time's right. So guys, I really hope that you love Jinxed 2, and thank you for following everything that we're doing at the 13 Souls. And whilst I'm here, I just want to cheekily plug something. These little bad boys are now available. It's the 13 Souls merch, and if you want those, they'll be on this site somewhere as well. So take care, and I hope you have a great afternoon.